let's just take a breath here. The rock world.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been about, the noise, the spectacle. But suddenly there was this silence, a really heavy silence.
Yeah.
October 16th, the news just flashed across headlines, news tickers. One of the most, electric figures in rock, just gone. A real rock soldier, gone way too soon.
Welcome to Starscope Report. We're here to dig into the biggest Hollywood dramas, the shakeups in the music world, and really get behind the curtain of fame.
And today we are absolutely diving deep into the life, the legacy of a true icon, Ace Frehley, the legendary spaceman from Kiss, passed away at 74.
We're looking past those initial headlines, trying to understand the incredible, and controversial career he built.
Right. Let's start with that headline itself. The Spaceman's final chapter. Rock legend Ace Frehley dies at 74. Just stark.
It really was, and the details that came out later explain, well, quite a lot about why things had been quiet leading up to it.
He died October 16th, 2025. But the story really starts earlier, doesn't it?
It does. Late September, there was an accident, a fall in his recording studio. And it was serious.
Really serious. Hit his head, suffered a brain bleed, hospitalized for weeks.
Yeah, and eventually, tragically, placed on life support. It puts those earlier announcements about canceled tour dates into perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Remember seeing that.
Yeah.
His remaining 2025 dates were just canceled. The reason given was vague, just ongoing medical issues.
Which now, sounds like they were grappling with something catastrophic behind the scenes, trying to manage it.
And the reaction, once the news finally broke,
Yeah.
it was immense, that family statement.
Wow. So raw. Phrases like completely devastated and heartbroken and calling the loss of epic proportions. You feel the personal weight of it, not just the public figure passing.
Definitely. And then you look at the band reactions.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating, the difference in tone, right?
Totally. You've got Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, this sort of business partners almost.
And then you have Peter Criss.
Right. Stanley and Simmons put out this joint statement, very professional,
Right.
very respectful, called Frehley an essential and irreplaceable rock soldier, acknowledging his huge role in the band's foundation.
Essential, irreplaceable, part of the legacy. It's all true, but it sounds managed.
It does feel a bit like a corporate statement almost, acknowledging history.
But then Peter Criss, the original Catman,
Yeah.
his reaction felt completely different, just pure emotion.
Yeah, just, I'm shocked, my friend, I love you.
That's it. It's short, sharp, personal.
Tells you so much more about the actual human relationships, the history, the messiness of it all, maybe, than the official statement.
Absolutely. It hints at that complicated brotherhood, and, Frehley was always that unpredictable element, that X factor.
Which is amazing when you think about how he even got into the band.
Oh, yeah.
But wait till you hear how close the Spaceman came to never joining Kiss at all, that audition. It's legendary for a reason. We'll get into that crazy story next.
Okay, let's unpack that beginning.
Ah.
Paul Daniel Frehley, born in the Bronx, one red sneaker and a fiery solo. The unlikely birth of the Space Ace. That sounds about right.
It really is,
Yeah.
because he was completely self-taught on guitar, never had a lesson. He even called himself an anomaly.
Who are his big influences? Hendrix,
Oh,
Beck.
Yep. Hendrix, Beck, Page, the greats. He just absorbed it all by ear, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about the complexity later.
So he sees this ad, right, in the Village Voice.
Lead guitarist wanted with flash and ability. Classic.
And he shows up. And the look. Well, it wasn't exactly what Gene and Paul were expecting.
Not at all. He walks in wearing one red sneaker and one orange one.
One red, one orange.
Seriously, because apparently Stanley and Simmons just look at each other like, oh boy, this guy's a disaster. They were trying to build this image, this whole thing.
And here comes this guy looking like he, fell into a paint store on the way over.
Pretty much. They were apparently ready to just send him packing.
But then he played.
They had him jam on their song Deuce.
Yeah.
And suddenly the sneakers didn't matter. His playing was just electric. Fiery was the word used. Unique.
So the ability part of the ad definitely outweighed the flash, or at least the initial impression of his flash.
Instantly. They knew, okay, weird shoes aside, this guy has it. That sound.
And that's where the spaceman persona starts to form, right? The makeup, the whole otherworldly vibe.
Exactly. The black and white makeup, the silver, it fit his playing style somehow. And he leaned into the theatrics, too. The guitars that shot rockets, the smoke pouring out of the Les Paul.
That modified Les Paul, yeah.
Yeah.
That was genius stagecraft. It wasn't just playing, it was a spectacle.
And for over a decade, That anonymity was key. People didn't know what they looked like underneath. That mystery was huge.
He actually talked about that, didn't he?
Hmm.
How the mask gave him freedom. Like, Mick Jagger is always Mick Jagger.
But Ace could take off the makeup and just be Paul Frehley. A separation.
Yet, ironically, his biggest musical statement, arguably, came when he stepped out from behind the Kiss machine, completely on his own.
Absolutely. Which is wild considering the band's scale.
And that's not even the wildest part. His time with Kiss didn't just end once, it ended twice. And both times involved a ton of drama. Stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's call this next bit the $100 million walkout and the best Kiss solo album. Because that's what many fans still say.
1978. Kiss does the unthinkable. All 4 members release solo albums on the same day.
A huge gamble. A massive marketing push.
And Ace's album, it just took off. It had the big hit, his cover of New York Groove.
That track was everywhere, but the whole album was strong. Fans loved it. Critics generally agreed it was the most, well, Kiss-like of the 4, ironically. It felt authentic.
Why do you think it connected so much? More than the others?
Well, like you said, New York Groove was a smash, but beyond that, it felt like him. He played almost everything on it. Guitars, bass, sang lead. It was a real hard rock record.
Yeah.
Tight, focused.
While the others maybe experimented a bit more, went a bit broader.
Yeah, Simmons had orchestral stuff, Chris was more R&B, Stanley was maybe the closest, but still exploring. Ace just delivered pure, guitar-driven rock. It felt like the core sound some fans felt Kiss was maybe drifting away from.
Which probably didn't help the internal dynamics, I imagine, seeing his solo record do so well.
Likely not. It definitely showed he could succeed on his own terms, and that probably played into his first exit from the band in 1982.
Right. So why did he leave then? What were the big issues?
2 main things, really, and they were linked. Creative differences were huge. He famously disliked the direction they took on albums like Dynasty and Unmasked.
The disco influence. I was made for loving you.
Exactly. He hated that song, felt it was selling out their rock roots. And the other factor was substance abuse, which was becoming a serious problem for him. The pressure, the conflict, it all fed into it.
And leaving wasn't a small decision. We're talking serious money left on the table.
Huge money. He walked away from a contract worth like $15 million back then. His lawyer later estimated, with inflation and potential earnings, it was like walking out on what would be $100 million today.
$100 million. That
Right.
tells you how bad things must have felt for him inside the band.
He basically said as much. He later quoted saying he felt if he'd stayed, he would have committed suicide. Just intense pressure and toxicity he needed to escape. It sounds less like quitting and more like self-preservation.
Wow. And then he did find his footing again, solo, with Frehley's Comet in the mid-'80s.
Yeah, and he was pretty open in his music about his struggles then. Remember the song Rock Soldier?
Oh yeah, that directly addressed his big DUI arrest in '83, right? The car chase.
Yep. He crashed his DeLorean, hit multiple cars. It was messy, but he put it right into the lyrics. Always wore his chaos on his sleeve, musically.
And then, against all odds, the reunion happened. 1996. Full makeup, original lineup. Huge success.
Massive. Sold out arenas worldwide. It was incredibly lucrative. But the old tensions didn't just disappear. That reunion lasted until about 2002.
And the conflict with Simmons and Stanley just seemed to simmer and then boil over again, even years later.
It never really went away. There was always this adversarial thing going on in interviews, in memoirs. Ace consistently pushed back against their narrative.
Especially the idea that he was fired. He always insisted he quit. Both times.
Right. He was very vocal, calling them control freaks, untrustworthy, saying they were just too difficult to work with. He wanted control of his own story.
Even down to the very end, like with the farewell tour in 2023. There was that public back and forth about whether he was genuinely invited to play the encores.
Yeah, just constant friction. It seemed like that dynamic was just permanent.
It's a complicated legacy, for sure.
Yeah.
But the musical influence, that's undeniable.
Absolutely. And if you're finding these kinds of rock and roll stories fascinating, seriously, hit that subscribe button now. We dig into stuff like this all the time on Starscope Report.
Let's talk about that influence for a second. His sound. That Les Paul through a Marshall stack. It's iconic.
It really is. That tone, it's bright, it's punchy, a little raw. He was one of the guys who really popularized using those DiMarzio Super Distortion pickups. Just drove those Marshalls into that perfect, crunchy, searing tone.
And his playing style, too. That wide vibrato, the way he bent notes. Very melodic, but still aggressive.
Totally distinctive. You hear a few notes, you know it's Ace. And think about who he influenced. Mike McCready from Pearl Jam.
Said he wouldn't have even picked up a guitar if it wasn't for Ace. Studied his solos note for note.
Exactly. And it wasn't just grunge guys. Bret Michaels from Poison had Ace play the solo on Nothing But a Good Time.
Wow, I didn't know that was Ace. That's huge.
Yeah, his style just permeated rock music from kids learning in their garages to massive arena bands. He basically gave them a sonic blueprint.
He absolutely created a vocabulary for hard rock guitar.
And despite all the ups and downs, the drama, he got his due, officially. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 2014 with Kiss.
Which felt right, you know. Regardless of the internal band politics, his contribution was undeniable.
And maybe, looking back, a quote from his own autobiography kind of sums it up. He wrote, "I've always believed most people are ruined by the limitations they put on themselves."
That hits differently now, doesn't it? Coming from him, the guy who showed up in mismatched shoes and changed rock music.
Yeah. So what does that tell us? The legacy of this totally self-taught, completely rule-breaking spaceman? Does it show that maybe greatness comes when you just refuse to accept limitations, whether they're from others or from yourself?
Something to definitely think about. A fascinating question to leave you with.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks so much for tuning in. And seriously, don't forget to subscribe so you catch all our deep dives and keep up with the stories that keep the stars shining.